Good afternoon, everybody in Transform, Thrive, Unleash community. Nikki here, coming into you for my weekly live to talk to you today about personal development. So I'm really excited to talk about this because it is one of my favorite things in the whole entire world to talk about, and not a lot of people do it. People that are in business, people are in sort of different kinds of self-employment often do it. And there are, some people who are into personal development, but so many people, and I'm judging this from the people I know, my friends, so many people I know are not. And so I want to chat about that today. So let me just check that the live and I can see if anyone jumps on. So if you do happen to jump on live, say hi to me. That's always nice. But I do know that 99.9% of the people actually watch on replay, and that's totally cool. So excuse my voice. I have just the end of a sinus infection. So it is a little bit manly and it's just not quite ready yet. So yes, excuse my voice. Hopefully you can hear me properly and we can get going. So yeah, as I said, jump on live, say hi. And if you're up on the replay, type replay. I want to know that you've been able to come in and watch this on replay. That would be really lovely. So firstly, we want to talk about what personal development is. And so I would love you in the comments to type, what is personal development? What do you believe it actually means, or what is it to you? For me, personal development is about putting myself and surrounding myself with things that make me think outside the box, maybe things that take me outside my comfort zone, things that challenge some of my thinking, and also looking at things that are positive. So putting yourself around positive people, listening to positive things, reading positive things, so that you're not sitting there like being brain sucked from watching the news, as for example. So did you know, though, in 2019, personal development, the whole personal development industry was a $38 billion industry? Isn't that incredible? And that is because the amount of courses and programs and books and podcasts and audios that you can buy and do and take part in is such a huge industry. And people are looking for it, particularly. I'd love to see what it is now. That's 2019. So 2020 is when COVID hit, and a lot of people engaged in things like that. Once COVID hit as well, they had a little bit more time. Some people were able to access a little bit of money, but also people started to really question their life and the way they lived it, what was important. We started to really think about what was important in our life and started to do things a little bit differently. So we've got personal development, which is stuff that you do for yourself, but you've also got professional development. So it might be something that you do in your job. Your employer might pay for you to do a course or for you to take on and learn new skills. You might do a course at home, which is going to help you get something further on your resume that actually might give you that stepping stone towards getting, a promotion or something you like that. So that is more professional development. So if you're looking to actually move up the ranks in your work, you're looking for things that are going to aid you with skills, to be able to move forward. Maybe you do some leadership training. Maybe you do an additional course like a diploma of mental health or something like that that's actually going to help you move forward. So that is more along the lines of professional development. And personal development, often it is stuff that actually hits us in here. So in our mind, not always, but it does make us think. It makes us change. It makes us make decisions. And it is really important. You'll probably find that a lot of people that are serious about personal development, not just those that like to do it, those that are serious, have some sort of coach, a mentor, a life coach, something like that that helps them bring some accountability to what they're doing. And that's what's important. So if you're really serious about personally developing, if you're serious about, getting from where you are to maybe where you want to go, or even figuring out where you want to go, then I strongly, strongly urge you to look out for a life coach, some sort of coach that does this thing, or mentoring. So what you can do is you can do self-help stuff. So you can listen to podcasts, you can read. I've brought over here a couple of books that I really, really love because they make you think about, one is about leadership, yourself, just, who you are, what you may be doing in life, finances, that kind of stuff. But a couple of my favorite reads, so Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. This is a best-selling book, and you can see mine's a little bit tattered because I've read it so many times. But this here, it basically is about money making, and it's about our thoughts around it. So really, really amazing here. So this one here, every chapter of this book mentions the money-making secret that has made fortunes for more than 500 exceedingly wealthy people whom I have carefully analysed for a long period of years. So that is a fantastic book to read. So Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. Brené Brown, I love her. Dare to Lead, she's got quite a few books out, but this one here is around leadership. So it says here, she brings decades of research to bear in a practical and insightful guide to courageous leadership. This book is a roadmap for anyone who wants to lead mindfully, live bravely, and dare to lead. So if you want to grow yourself into a better leader, into somebody who has more of those leadership skills, even problem solving, leadership's a lot around problem solving. This is a really good book to read as well. Now, one of my all-time favorites, How to Take Control of Your Mental, Emotional, Physical, and Financial Destiny, is Awaken the Giant Within by Tony Robbins. Now, Tony Robbins is like my God. So I've done every one of his programs multiple times and have spent a hell of a lot of money with him. Pretty much as soon as he talks, I'm like, yeah, take my card. This book is amazing. Like, any of his books are amazing, but this is one of his earlier ones. So Awaken the Giant Within. This is a really good one to read. It's very insightful, makes you really think about, what you really want, unleashing your power. That's a big one. Like, what do you want? What's your destiny? Talking about vocabulary that we use ourselves. What are we letting go internally? Now, Rachel Hollis wrote this one, Girls Stop Apologizing. So I really like this one. It's all about women. And she's about, people chasing their purpose and dreams without apology. So this one's a real good one if you want to read something that's just like, go girl, you do it. You can chase your dreams. You can do this. You can do this. And what do you want? Like, I really like that one. The Success Principles, can't really see that in the light. The Success Principles by Jack Canfield. This one is amazing. It's one of the first books I bought when I started in business, and I was lucky enough to be in, where was it? I was in San Diego at a conference, and Jack Canfield was one of the keynote speakers, and he spoke for 3 hours. And I think he covered about 6 hours of content in 3 hours. He spoke so quickly because he was trying to get everything out. And I'm a note taker. I love taking notes, but I couldn't actually keep up because he was talking so quickly. But I was just in awe of everything that he said. So I just ended up just sitting and just listening and taking it all in. Now, he really talks about taking ownership of your own decisions. So stop blaming and really take ownership and make decisions about what you want. Don't, reach internally to find out exactly what you're after. The results you'll achieve from this, as Tony Robbins says here, will be extraordinary. So this is a #1 New York Times best-selling book. But it's a classic. It's an absolute classic. So Jack Canfield, The Success Principles, is a good one to try if you're after some books. Now, today, what I did was I typed into Google, I'll tell you a funny story about Google in a minute, typed into Google 2022 best personal development podcasts. And there's a couple of different lists that came up, but so you can go in there and find something that you really like in terms of podcasts. So I listen to lots of podcasts. Mine are more business related, mindsets. That's the kind of stuff that I like to listen to, stuff that kind of challenges my thinking around that, gives me more strategies for how I do life, do business. So go in podcasts and find things that you like and get some good audio in your ears. So how do we measure personal development? So this is something that we need to kind of think about. All right, have I personally developed? And people will say, you need to just grow. You need a bit of growth, or, with a bit of development, you'll be able to, take on new challenges and things like that. And it is absolutely true. What you can do, like before you personally get involved in personal development, to what you can do afterwards, and how you react to situations will be completely different. And so I like to think about, as people undertake, life within a personal development role, and they like to read these kinds of things. Like I used to read books all the time about nothing, and I love them. I love reading books. And now most of the books I read are all personal development. I think I do need to get a bit of a mix, because sometimes it's nice just to get into some, fictional characters, storyline. I don't watch TV because I just find it's the news. The only TV I really watch is ABC with my son. And speaking of which, so Harper says to me the other day, he goes, "Mum, do you know what the biggest number in the whole entire world is?" And I'm like, "No, what is it?" And he said, "It's Google." So somehow he's learnt Google, and he thinks it's a number, and it's the biggest number in the world. So I found that very funny. So in terms of personal development, I will say that most people that are in here will know that I got diagnosed with PTSD from my work in the police force. And it was delayed, which obviously it's post-traumatic, so of course it is delayed. But the doctors believe mine was so delayed because I was so personally developed, is what they've actually said. So because I was able to access a different way of thinking, I had like a problem-solving brain, as opposed to I have a problem brain. I had a growth mindset versus a fixed mindset. So I didn't just see something and go, "Oh my God, life's shit, I'm going to just sit here." Although I did this morning for 2 hours. I'm not immune and I'm not perfect. I had 2 hours of feeling sorry for myself this morning, and, got my dad's, old jumper on that I've had for 10 years, and went and laid on the couch for 2 hours and kind of slept and sulked and felt sorry for myself. We're all allowed to do that. But you find that, when something happens, the way in which you deal with it can be completely different. When you've been doing these personal development, you look at things differently. So, for example, like Jack Canfield says, take personal responsibility for everything that happens in your life. So instead of saying, that boyfriend of mine, he, put me in debt, he did this, he did that. So let's talk about, let's not make it up. I've got one I can put up. So ex-boyfriend, put me $60,000 in debt. I was pregnant at the time, couldn't even afford to buy a cot. I just started to not trust myself, not trust him. He would have a shower and I'd duck out and search his car for stuff. Like, life just became like a bit weird because it's just not the way I live my life. And in the end, I asked him to leave because I couldn't afford to financially go under anymore. And this relationship was just toxic, absolutely toxic. And as I said, I was pregnant. So I was 19 weeks pregnant at the time. And so he left and then kind of turned into a real asshole. So this is where your real personality comes to the fore. But I had to sit there, and for a long time I'm like, oh, I hate him. He's put me $60,000 in debt. He's done this. But then when I sit there and think about it, it's like, okay, no one can really put you into debt. Like, they kind of can, but they can't. I allowed it. He treated me this way for, now he might treat me that way, but how long I allow that to happen is on me. If I was scared, obviously, like if there was violence and stuff involved and stuff like that, and I was scared, different story. But there are ways that you can try and get help. And I always said with relationships, it's not a waste of the years. Like, you can sit there and go, I wasted 2 years with that guy. I always say it's not a waste of the 2 years that you were with him. From the minute you decided that that relationship was not healthy, that that was not right, that you shouldn't be there, until the day that you ended it, that's the wasted time. And so that's a different way of looking at things. So when you engage in personal development, you start to look at things a little bit differently. So you don't sit there and say, it's all my fault. It's not about saying it's my fault, but it's about thinking about what you've allowed. And then now, for example, having been through that, I am happily on my own. I would love to meet somebody, but in my mind, I know the kind of somebody that I want. I'm more open to knowing exactly what I want and what I don't want, because I know what I would allow in my life and what I won't. And so that's where personal development can happen. And, it's also a feeling. You can feel it. You can feel this change. It's like you've grown up. And you have a lot more calmness to you when you've had more personal development. Now, personal development can also be, like I said, reading. It can be listening to things. It can be watching things. So maybe YouTube or something like that. You might get some Audible books. You can listen to things like that. You can attend conferences. You can go to online events. We have ours that are always very much personal development, that you can jump on at any stage. So we've got a money mindset, and we've also got a living an inspired life. So there's those that are both personal development and also really making you think about the situation that you're in your life and where you want it to go. So those are things that you can attend. So the thing is that there are lots of different areas in your life where you start to question, and unless you open your mind to personal development, sometimes you will stay in the muck of those situations. So some of them, you might be desiring a bit more freedom, but you're scared. You don't have the voice to actually do anything about it. You might still be in that I'm stuck here mode. It could be about relationships. It could be about money. Like, this is things like, okay, I want to grow in certain ways. I want to grow with my relationship with money. I don't want to be broke. I don't want to be living week to week anymore. I need to go to here. So what do I need to become to get here? And that's the question. People say, I want to earn $500 a week extra. That would change. People say that to me every day of the week. In my other business where I do an interview with people and say, right, you want to come on board, you want to run your own business. What do you want? What are you looking for financially? It's just straight up, money's not evil, it's oxygen. What do you want? And they always usually come up with the $500 a week. If I made $500 a week, it would allow me to breathe. It would make a huge difference in my life. It would pay for my rent. It would pay for my petrol, whatever, something like that. Now, you can sit there and say, okay, great, you've got the means to be able to do that. Maybe you take on a second job. Maybe you've got a side hustle that you do. Maybe you can approach your employer to try some different positions, or maybe you go for a promotion or something like that at work. There's lots and lots of different ways in which you can earn that extra money. But you've got to have the mindset of going, right, what else can I try? What else can I try? Instead of going, oh my God, there's no way that I can earn this extra money. My life sucks. I'm like this. You've got to change it. So it's the way in which you think. It's training, and it's like lifting weights. It's like building muscle. And that's what you need to do, is build muscle in here. And that's what personal development does. So for example, we're here. This is our situation right now. We need the $500 a week extra so that, you know, things can be different. So we start thinking about, okay, well, what could be different? How can our life be different at that? What would that $500 mean? It would mean I could breathe. It would mean that, you know, things weren't such a struggle for me. This is, you know, all these types of things. Well, yes, okay, how do we get it done? But what do you have to become in order to be that person that earns that $500 extra a week? What do you have to do? Is it that you've got to step outside your comfort zone? Is it that you've got to ask for help? Is it that you've got to go through another course? What do you need to step into your power and become something else? We have people that are lost, bored, frustrated, they're burnt out. Sometimes it takes a while to actually know that you're there. You need to get off that treadmill of just going around and round and round, or that hamster wheel. It takes someone either to bring you off, or it takes you going, help, I need help. And then you need to get better and look at ways in which you can move forward, and where do you need to be. So what you want to do is be around someone like a life coach or something like that, that's going to take you from A to Z. And along the way, we've got B, you know, B, C, D, E, F, and all of those are points that you're going to reach little milestones to become the person that you need to be, so that you're not that person that you were before. So how often have you heard people go, but I'm not that person I was before. Before, I would have allowed this, 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 and this. Now, I wouldn't. You know, and that's because they've grown. And a lot of times people grow just simply through life. They grow through life experience, and that they've learnt something along the way, and that has then changed the way they then deal with things in the future. But personal development is something that you can really do that. It can be where you've had major changes in life. So maybe you've had a baby, and you're at home and you sit there and think, you know, my friends are different now. Like, you know, they've all got older kids and I've gotten a baby, or I'm the first one that's had a baby. Everything's a bit different. You know, they're still going out and doing all these things. So who do you need to become to be able to be happy? So what kind of person do you have to step into? What power do you have to step into to become something? So these are lots of different ideas. And once again, when you've got a fixed mindset, you can't see those things. When you've got a growth mindset, you can see lots of possibilities and lots of ways through that maze of life. So hopefully I have passed on a little bit of my love of personal development to you, and that you've gained something of value from this little talk. As I said, I was super excited to come and talk about personal development because it is one of my favorite things to do, and talking about mindset. There's a couple of things I just wanted to add on the end. One, we do offer lifestyle audits. So we have a 30-minute call where we can sit there and we talk about, right, what is life? Let's look at that A, and let's look at that Z of where we want to kind of go. So we have these things called a lifestyle audit. They're completely free, and it's 30 minutes that you get to jump on a Zoom with me, and we work out A and then we work out Z, and just exactly what I've spoken about. Secondly, we are just about to release our tickets for our conference that's running on the 18th and 19th of June, which is a Saturday and Sunday. So it will run for 5 hours each day. It is amazing. The lineup of speakers is incredible. We're still locking in some further speakers as well. So those tickets will go on sale hopefully next week. So keep your eye out for those. So for anyone that jumped on live, thank you so much for joining me, and anyone that jumps on the replay, make sure you comment replay. Let me know that you were here, play along, answer the questions as they go. And it's really nice that you've taken the time to listen to me gas bag for, I don't know, 20 minutes or so. All right, guys, have an amazing rest of your week. Happy Tuesday, and I will talk to you next week. Bye.